malaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko. Para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at magpapatalo. Ipag-iwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, syempre, sibay, lakay, ang liga. Sama-samang pakita, ang galing natin katropa. Sa kapwa ko, Pilipino. Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy.
The making of a champion and champions in the making. Ito po ang ating pag-uusapan ngayong Sabado sa inyong paboritong kasama sa almusal. E di paano? Bangon na! Power and play na!
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
Magandang Pasko sa inyong lahat, mga kapatid. Ako po, isang linggo na lamang, Pasko na. Tayo po'y tuwan-tuwa na tayo po'y nagmumula. Walang iba kung hindi sa ASEA Subic Beach Resort para muling bisitahin ang napakagandang facility na to. Ito pong ASEA Subic Beach Resort. Tayo nagpapasalamat muli kila Boss Romel Sitin, kay Ma'am Sandra, at sa buong pamunuan po ng ASEA Subic Beach Resort for inviting Power and Play once again. And again, very festive atmosphere. At I'm sure marami po kayong makikita dito sa mga tanawin para mag-enjoy. Kung kayo po ay naghahanap pa ng pupuntahan ngayong panahon ng Pasko, pasyalan nyo po dito sa Subic Bay, itong ASEA Beach Resort. Kagaya na nabanggit natin, no? Isang linggo na lamang pero napakainit pa rin po kasalukuyan ng mga labanan. Naku kung ating hihimayin yung mga maglalaban-laban bukas, at saka itong Lunes, no? Itong dalawang araw na to. Isipin nyo yung World Cup Finals between France at saka ng England. Yung pong laban ng UAAP Finals na gaganapin sa Lunes. Yung pong NCAA Finals na gaganapin sa Linggo. And of course, yung patuloy po na PBA Semis ng Manila Clasico at saka yung Bay Area kontra San Miguel. It has been sports heaven indeed. At karamihan dyan, ang pinag-uusapan ay yung pagbuo ng isang champion team. Well, ganyan po ang ating magiging paksa ngayong araw na to. Mamaya, makakausap natin ang mga atleta ng equestrian, mga batang atleta na gustong maging kampiyon sa larong equestrian. Pakinggan nyo po ang ating interview dun po sa Slam Book. Nakakausap din po natin ang bagong hirang na kampiyon ng MPBL, ang Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards. Nakapapanalo pa lamang again, the champions now after many tries. At mamaya po makakasama natin ang kanilang coach at mga players. At pag-uusapan po natin mamaya, hihimayin natin ang champions in the making. Dynasty or redemption? UP or Ateneo? Game 3. Kasama po natin Coach Willie Wilson at si Diego Dario. So marami po tayong pag-uusapan. Kinakamusta natin lahat ng ating mga suki. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat sa Radyo 5, sa 1PH, and of course sa Facebook Live. Simulan na natin ang ating huntaan sa pamamagitan ng ating Sports Weekly Highlights.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
Tinulak ng Ateneo Blue Eagles ang UAAP Season 85 Men's Basketball Finals sa do-or-die Game 3 matapos talunin ang UP Fighting Maroons sa Game 2, 65-55. Kumamada ng 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 steals at 3 blocks si Ange Kwame para buhatin ang Blue Eagles sa crucial game. Malaking dagok naman ang kailangang lampasan ng defending champions matapos bumaksak sa fourth quarter si Xavier Lucero dahil sa left knee injury. Sa iba pang UAAP update, nauna nang nabawi ng NU Pep Squad ang kanilang UAAP Cheer Dance Competition title. Umarangkada ang NU sa top finish sa likod ng kanilang aerobic-inspired 80s themed routine. Ito na ang pang-pitong titulo ng NU sa loob ng 9 na season. Perfect na parting gift din ito sa kanilang coach nila, sa coach nilang si Jica Bernabe na huling taon na raw sa koponan. Sa boxing, dominante ang pagbabalik sa ring ni pambansang kamao Manny Pacquiao. Walang hirap na tinalo ni Pacman si South Korean YouTuber at mixed martial artist DKU sa kanilang 6-round exhibition match. Ilang beses pang na-knockdown ni Pacquiao ang kalaban bago makuha ang unanimous decision win. Magtutuloy-tuloy lang daw ang training ni Pacman at posible pang lumaban sa 2023. Update naman tayo sa FIBA. Sigurado na pong lalaro dito sa Pilipinas ang Team USA para sa 2023 FIBA World Cup. Pinapili ng FIBA ang 3 host ng World Cup kung anong team ang gusto nilang maglaro sa kanilang venue para sa group stages. USA ang pinili ng Pilipinas, Slovenia naman ang kinuha ng Japan at Canada ang pick ng Indonesia. Inaasahang mapupuno ng NBA stars ang USA roster, lalo't target nilang mabawi hindi lang ang gold kung hindi rin ang number 1 ranking sa FIBA. At sa local basketball naman, nakuha ng Nueva Ecija ang kanilang unang corona sa MPBL. Tinambakan ng Rice Vanguards ang Zamboanga Family's brand sardine sa Game 4 ng Finals, 69-56 para iuwi ang kampyonato. Finals MVP si Nueva Ecija guard Byron Villarias na may 14 points, 10 rebounds at 2 steals sa title-clinching win. Good news naman po sa mga Gilas fans. Aprobado na sa Kamara at Senado ang naturalization ni Justin Brownlee. Inaasahang makakalaro na si JB para sa Gilas, Pilipinas sa February window ng FIBA World Cup qualifiers. Safe to say, pwede natin siyang tawaging Kababayan Brownlee. At sa PBA, tabla na ang Manila Clasico 1-1 matapos ang Game 2 thriller na nagtapos sa buzzer beater ni Paul Lee. Muntikang pang maagaw ng Barangay Ginebra ang bola with 5 seconds to go pero bumalik ito sa kamay ng Magnolia guard at naipukol ang game winner of the glass 96-95. May team high 24 points ang Angas ng Tondo habang may 23 points at 20 rebounds, double-double si Magnolia import Nick Rakosevich. Samantala, sa ikalawang laro, nanalo naman ang Bay Area Dragons kontra San Miguel 114-95. Nanguna para sa Bay Area si Andrew Nicholson na may total of 34 points at 16 rebounds. At ngayon, lamang na po ang Bay Area 2-0 sa kanilang serye. At yan po ang buod ng mga balita sa Sports Weekly Highlights. Naku, namumuro na ang Bay Area para makapasok sa finals. Lamang sila ng 2-0. That should be very, very interesting. Tomorrow, ang game number 3. Samantala, tabla na yung serye ng Manila Clasico at mukhang aabot ito sa game 5. Hanggang Pasko tayo na maglalaro dito po sa Manila Clasico, and that should be a real treat sa lahat po ng mga fans. Pero pinag-uusapan natin ang treat to all of the fans. Siyempre, ang pinag-uusapan ngayon ay ang mainit na bakbakan sa UAAP. Winner take all sa Lunes between UP and Ateneo. UP, the defending champion, Ateneo, na naghahangad na makabalik muli sa trono. Kaya po, yan ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong araw na ito. Ito po, napakasimple lamang ang ating pulso ng bayan. Hatid sa inyo ng Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Ano po ang inyong fearless forecast sa Game 3 ng UAAP Season 85 Men's Basketball sa pagitan ng UP at Ateneo? Ano po sa tingin nyo mananalo? So, ang mangyayari at sino ang mananalo ng championship ng UAAP? Kung gusto niyo po makisama sa ating talakayan, mag-comment lamang sa aming Facebook page ng Power and Play o Facebook ng 1PH at Radyo 5, di kaya sa aking social media accounts at Noli Iyala sa Twitter. At susubukan po nating basahin ang inyong mga komentaryo sa Pulso ng Bayan. Hatid sa inyo ng Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Pinag-uusapan ng mga premyo, siyempre, hindi mawawala ang Joyride top-up promo dito po sa Power and Play. Napakadali lamang po para manalo ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits. Mag-download lamang po ng latest version ng Joyride Super App. Kuhanan ng screenshot ang app's home screen kasama ang inyong pangalan at ipadala ang screenshot sa Power and Play Facebook page via private message. Isama niyo po ang inyong buong pangalan, registered mobile number sa inyong Joyride account at may chance na kayong manalo po ng 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credits na amin pong i-announce sa kaduluduluhan ng show. Again, sumali po kayo dyan. Napakarami nating premyo. And again, abangan niyo po ang mga mananalo mamaya. Alright mga kapatid, ang dami nating kailangang asikasuhin at pag-usapan. So, ipasok na natin ang ating paboritong segment, ang Fast Take. At ang Fast Take ay hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Tigo, It's Fun to Drive. At ito pong Fast Take na to ay ating pong nai-record nung isang araw. Kaya ipapasok na po natin ang ating mga bisita para sa Fast Take, si Sid Ventura at si Aba Cordero. Bago ako, alam ko si Abak nasa Philippine Star yan. Of course, chase down. Kaya lagi nating napapanood mga kapatid si Abak. Si Sid pala, may bago ring programa. Sid, sabihin mo nga yung, yung bago mong website, yung rivalry.com. Ano ba yan?
Well, may bagong website, yes, Rivalry. The Rivalry yung pangalan niya, rivalrynetwork.com.
The Rivalry, okay.
Rivalrynetwork.com. Although I still write for ESPN Philippines, puntahan nyo lang, marami mga features doon about, the past PBA greats and also current events, Again, rivalrynetwork.com. Puntahan nyo lang siya.
Yan mga kapatid, puntahan nyo po, rivalrynetwork.com. Talagang pagdating, mainit na ang tinatawag na rivalry. Yan ang pag-uusapan natin mamaya. But before that, let me ask you first, Abak, Team USA is coming to the Philippines para sa FIBA World Cup. How significant is that na ang pinili natin ang Team USA? Not only for the fans, but also for the format ng FIBA World Cup.
Well, there's no better team to choose than Team USA, of course. Hindi na naman just for them to play here. Pero kung pwede natin silang kalabanin, di sila lang labanan natin, di ba? Parang yung Pilipinas na World Cup na Philippine women's football team natin. Sabi nila nung Araneta, kung pwede natin makuha New Zealand, mapili sa tayo ng New Zealand dahil it's the host team. Di ba? So yung highlight, hinahanap din natin yan.
Well, talagang marami na nga ngayon ang nagpapareserve bigla ng mga tickets dito sa Maynila. Sabagat all of a sudden, nakita nila ang Team USA na ang pupunta po dito. Sigurado na yon. So, of course, there are 16 teams that will be coming sa group stage dito sa Maynila. At dito rin po lalaruin ng knockout stage. Kaya magpareserve na kayo ng ticket ninyo. Hindi kaya, mag-ilibre nyo na yung mga araw na nyo yung mga araw na yun. Sid, let me ask you, Heidelin Diaz, obviously, back in the limelight. What a spectacular performance sa World Championship. Where does this bring Heidelin right now sa tingin mo, Sid? Is she ready for one more piece of history?
Oo naman, Chairman. Tingin ko, malaki yan. That was the only missing jewel from her collection, yung World Championship. Olympic champion na siya, Asian Games champion. So yung World Championship na lang yun, nakamit na nga niya. And I think this augurs well for her campaign sa Paris in 2024. And if she also wins another gold there, tingin ko, siya na yung greatest Filipino athlete of all time. Male or female.
Talaga. Pambihira.
Siya na talaga.
Si Abak is agreeing with you, and I certainly do as well. Nung isang araw nga, sabi ko doon sa mga kasama natin sa sports writing community, o di paano yan, tapos na ang boxing pagdating sa Athlete of the Year. Ano na naman ng World Championship ang ating Olympic gold medalist. And, not that we are shortchanging our other athletes, pero iba pa rin ang Olympic and World Champion.
Yeah.
Tama ba yun, gentlemen?
Well, for 2022, tingin ko may say din yung ating Filipinas. The national women's football team kasi may na-achieve din sila, no? The qualified for the World Cup, and they also won the Southeast Asian championship, so tingin ko
it will be a fun PSA night.
Yes.
PSA Philippine Sports Writers Association Awards night, I'm sure. Pagdating ng alam ba yun? Marso ba yun, Abak?
March, tentatively March 6 yata.
Ayan, naabangan natin lahat yan. Alright mga kaibigan, alam ko inaabangan nyo na ang ating mga issues dito sa Fast Take. As you know, dito po, bato-bato sa langit, tamaan, huwag magagalit. And of course, walang tama, walang mali. 1 minute per question. Ready na kayo guys? Ito ang ating unang tanong. Kasi ang dami ngayon nangyayari. Sabi ko nga doon sa aking Twitter post, it's like sports heaven. Sa dami na nangyayari po ngayon. And of course, all of the Game 3 finals na nangyayari, ang isa dyan ay ang UAAP, kung saan Ateneo at UP maglalaban sa Lunes para po sa corona ng UAAP. So ang tanong, outside of the X's and O's, meaning yung technical part of it, ano sa tingin nyo ang magiging susi ng Game 3 ng UAAP Season 85 Finals? I'll begin with you, Abak. 1 minute, go!
Ako, Chairman, wala akong kakampihan dito, kaya I'm just hoping for a game na to be as memorable as the last time these two teams met in the finals. But if the game is close until the end, everything goes out of the window. It will be the breaks that will decide the contest. One big basket, one turnover, a call or a non-call down the stretch will decide the game. I remember being here, Chairman, prior to the season, and tinanong mo ko kung back-to-back ang UP. Sabi ko, I threw back the question at you by saying, papayag bang Ateneo? So here we are again, Chairman, and see Game 3 of the title series. Anybody's ball game. Sa akin, wala nang favorite dito sa Monday. All I want is a close, hardly fought contest. Then, bahala na si Batman. Sana buzzer beater.
Wow! Naku, sakit nun. Alam mo, minsan hindi ko nga alam kung mas masakit yun kaysa itambakan ka. Pero definitely, yung matalo ka ng championship, masakit na. Pero yung buzzer beater pa talagang hindi pa rin nakakalimutan niya ng Ateneo. Sid, same issue. Outside of the X's and O's, ano sa tingin mo ang key sa Game 3 ng UAAP Season 85 Finals? 1 minute, Sid. Go!
Well, yun nga, Chairman, kakasabi mo lang, hindi pa nakakalimutan ng Ateneo yung nangyari noong Season 84, Si JD Kagulangan is probably public enemy number 1 sa Ateneo. So, sa akin, outside the X's or O's, it's the motivation of each team. Redemption for Ateneo, masakit yung talo nila noong Season 84. They'd like nothing better than to get back the title. And sa UP naman, dalawa yung motivation nila. Kung matalo sila kasi sa Monday, they'll be the shortest reigning champion. 7 months lang silang 7 months lang silang champion. So syempre they want to show that it wasn't a fluke. They want to go back to back, and most importantly, hindi tayo sigurado kung makakalaro si Save Lucero sa Lunes. So I'm pretty sure they'll use that as a rallying point, a battle cry. Let's win it for Save Lucero, and let's get that back-to-back for Diliman.
Exactly. I totally agree, Sid, that napakaraming mga factors dito outside of basketball, yung motivation. I'm sure yung mga seniors na mag-graduate sa bawat school, napakahalaga din yan. I know that Ange Kwame, Andrade is and of course David Defonso na papabalitang aalis na rin. Carl Tamayo, I understand, might also go abroad. So these are
I've
also
heard that as well.
mga factors yan. But ako sa tingin ko, outside of the injuries, it's gonna be the fans. Alam mo, dyan talaga paingayan when I was there in Game 2. Oh my God, talagang puputok yung Smart Araneta Coliseum. So, the fans will be a big part of it. The sixth man, ika nga, and it will rock on Monday. Sana nga, it will be an exciting one na walang ma-injure at talagang magandang pure collegiate basketball ang ating mapanood. Alright, let's go to our issue number 2 of the morning. Nako, ito naman ay tungkol sa isa na namang napakagandang serye. Doon naman tayo lumipat sa PBA, kung saan talagang bakbakan ang Manila Clasico at yung Bay Area San Miguel Series. So ang tanong, pumili kayo ng isang player sa bawat isang team, yung 4 na nabanggit ko, sa PBA semis, na sa tingin nyo ay magiging surprise factor ng kanilang series. I'll begin with you, Sid. 1 minute. Go!
Hirap nitong tanong na to, Chairman. Sa totoo lang, ano? Sige, umpisahan natin siguro sa San Miguel. Ako, tingin ko Terence Romeo will be a surprise factor here. He was out for most of the year, no? With an injury, he's slowly working his way back. Medyo limited minutes. Tingin ko may isang game dyan na ibababad siya eh. Back to the Terence Romeo of old, he'll score 20-30 points, no? And then for Magnolia, hinintay ko pumutok si Aris Dionisio from the outside. Medyo he's been a little cold, so ayun, for Magnolia, the outside shooting of Aris Dionisio might be a surprise. And then sa Ginebra naman, LA Tenorio, I think will have another big game in the series. And then finally for Bay Area naman, I'm looking at Hayden Blankley. Baka maka 47 points ulit siya, like he did during the quarterfinals.
Nako, bibigat ng mga pangalan na yun. And I can imagine they've already shown their prowess, so hindi malayong maging surprise na naman yan. Abak, same issue. Isang player from each team na sa tingin mo ay maaaring maging surprise package nitong ng mga series nila. 1 minute, Abak. Go.
Yes, Chairman. Ako, among the semi-finalists, parang mahirap na pumili ng surprise factor dito because we all know them too well. So I'll pick one. I will pick one local per team. Sa Ginebra, I'm picking Jamie Malonzo. Parang ngayon pa lang niya siguro nare-realize or nagsisink in sa kanya what he can really do in the PBA. And I think Ginebra is very lucky to have this young, agile 6'7". I expect to see more of what he can do in the semis and in the finals if Ginebra makes it. Sa Magnolia naman, Paulie ako. Hanggang ngayon, ako tingin ko he's the leader. And to me, it stays na where Paulie goes, Magnolia goes. And sa San Miguel, Julmar Pajardo ako. If he plays well, it will be very difficult for the opposing team to stop him at the same time contend with an import. Those are two big headaches. And sa Bay Area, I agree with Sid, si Heidi Blankley. Para nakatago itong si Blankley. Dahan-dahan nilalabas sa semis. Yung 47 points siya against Rain or Shine. Parang pang-finals itong si Blankley.
Talagang parang naitago na ngayon ay daan-daan ng binapalatan. I agree with all of the names that you have mentioned. Ako, to make it simple, I'll go with all of the imports ng mga series na to. I think it will be interesting. Rakocevic was not in that game. Kaya malaking factor yon. And of course, we know how Andrew Nicholson talaga namang siya ang kailangang pigilan ng San Miguel. And of course, we understand everyone's role. Kaya ako, it will just be I'm just excited to watch both series. Sana nga umabot hanggang Game 5. Alright, let's go to our final issue of the morning. Nako, ito naman, lumayo tayo sa basketball. Pumunta tayo sa boxing kung saan ang ating pambansang kamao, si Senador Manny Pacquiao, katatapos lamang ng isang exhibition, mukhang bumabandera na naman sa balita. Sabi niya, hindi pa daw siya tapos magretiro sa boxing. Kaya itong tanong, matapos magretiro sa boxing, nagpahiwatig ng comeback si Senador Manny. Kaya pa ba ng pambansang kamao bumalik sa pagboboxing sa kabila ng kanyang edad? 1 minute, Abak. Go!
Si Senator is celebrating his 44th birthday today.
Today?
And, yes. And in boxing, alam naman natin what that means. Even sa human anatomy, it means you're getting too old for this brutal sport. But it's really his culture, man. It's his mind and it's his body. Siya lang ang nakakaalam how he feels when he goes out for a run, when he trains at the gym, when he does this, he's at 2,000 crunches a day, or when he trades punches inside the ring. Siya lang ang nakakaalam. Kaya itong, but this exhibition game, fight against the South Korean, does not mean that he can do the same against Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. These are welterweight champions that are 32 years old, 35 years old. Para mo nilaban si Manny Pacquiao of now sa Manny Pacquiao 12 years ago, no? So ako, again, we cannot question the heart of Manny Pacquiao and his intention to fight again. But he has, pag lumaban siya ulit, he has another thing to prove, which is kaya pa ba niya talaga?
Alright, well, walang makakapigil. And of course, alam natin, lalo-lalo na sa mga atleta, mahirap magbumitiw. Sid, same issue. Matapos magretiro at nag-announce na nga siya ng kanyang retirement, nagpahiwatig ulit si Senador Manny. Kaya pa ba ng pambansang kamao na makabalik despite his age? 1 minute, Sid. Go.
Well, alam mo, Chairman, kung kaya pang bumalik, kaya naman siguro makipag-boxing, pero at the level that we're used to seeing him, well, that's another question. But I understand his motivation to come back. Siguro nga, the juices got flowing again after his fight again in Korea, and also he left the sport on a down note. Natalo siya kay Ugas, Jordanis Ugas, and no champion wants to go out with a loss. So maybe he's looking for that one last hurrah and a win to finally end his illustrious career. But if he's looking for a mega fight against the two champions nga that Abak mentioned, si Errol Spence and si Terence Crawford, medyo mabigat yun kasi si Ugas nga ninockout in 11 rounds ni Errol Spence. So hirap na hirap si Manny kay Ugas. So let's see what happens. Again, tama sinabi ni Abak, only Manny knows what condition his body is in right now. So let's see what will happen.
Everybody is holding their breath, pero ako, isa lang ang akin, boss, wag na. Ako talaga. Ako tatanungin niya, Senador, wag na po. They have nothing to prove and there's nothing out there para lalo pang lumaki ang kinang ng iyong bituin, ang respeto ng mga tao at ang pagmamahal ng Pilipino. Tapos na po. And I honestly believe that walang laban doon na tutumbas o makakatumbas sa nagawa na ni Manny para sa boxing. Lalong-lalo na kung madudungisan pa dahil sa isa na naman pagkatalo sa isang talagang malakas na kalaban. Yeah. Alam natin kung ano motivation, pero Senador, alam natin na mahirap bumitiw ang isang atleta, lalo na ang boksingero. Pero Senador, wala pa hong nakakatalo sa Father Time. Sana, wag na lang. Yun lang ang akin. Pero, syempre, pagka lumabang ka, nandiyan kami sa likod mo. Sid, as always, maraming salamat sa panahong ginugol niyo sa amin.
Yes, sir.
Na medyo mahirap. Merry Christmas kung hindi na tayo magkita-kita, pero sana magkita pa tayo.
Yes, sir.
Makakuha naman ako ng aginaldo sa inyo.
Baliktad yata, Chairman.
Oo nga, baliktad, Chairman.
Thank you guys. Salamat.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Sid.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you rin, Abak. See you around.
Mga kaibigan, ng ating po mga kasama sa hanap buhay, si Abak Cordero at si Sid Ventura. Ay, nako talaga, ang dami po natin pag-uusapan pagdating sa mga ganyan, sa mga boxing, sa basketball, volleyball, weightlifting. Nasarap kausap ang ating mga kasama sa sports media. Alright, bago tayo mag-break, isa lamang pong paalala mula sa Smart. Puso Pilipinas is a movement to celebrate the Filipino athlete powered by Smart. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Get a chance to win exclusive Puso Pilipinas merch by sharing their Facebook page in your social media accounts with hashtag Puso Pilipinas. The Giga Life app is the latest mobile app from Smart that lets you discover and enjoy your passions with the different Giga promos. It can be downloaded and used by Smart Postpaid, Smart Prepaid, Bro Prepaid, and TNT subscribers via the Apple or Google Play Store. What can the Giga Life app do for me? Check your balance. Monitor your current subscription. Top up using debit credit card. Subscribe to the latest Giga promos. Monitor your data consumption. Auto-detect your mobile number when you are connected to Smart Network one-tap subscription to the most popular offer, Giga Video 99. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live smart! Magbabalik pa po kami sa Power and Play. Diyan lang po kayo. Ito po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go, at ng True Religion.
I dare to dream big. To be a voice of my generation. To inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours. With Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
Alex, are you ready to have some fun on your first driving lesson?
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice na swak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to Go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
At nagbabalik po tayo sa napakagandang Asea Beach Resort in Subic. At of course, lagi tayong welcome dito. This feels like always home. At ngayon po, maswerte tayo dahil kasama natin mismo ang operations head ng Asea, si Mr. Clarence Dizon. Clarence, thank you for hosting us again in this wonderful facility.
You're always welcome, Kom. This is your second home already. Hindi ko na nga alam anong tatawag sa'yo na yun. Chairman na ba? On behalf of
Hindi na
Asea
importante.
family.
Oh, salamat.
Congratulations for that one po, for being the chairperson already of Philippine Sports.
Maraming salamat. It's always nice to know that there's a place where we can spend time to relax. Lalo na sa trabaho natin, Clarence. Napaka-busy, so it's good to just be here and enjoy the facilities. But now is a busy time for you. Nakikita ko napakadaming tao at very very busy. So let me go straight. What's new sa holiday season para sa Asea?
Alright, so our marketing team, our sales team, and of course the entire operations have already prepared for this one, Kom. This Christmas, of course, we'll be having our Noche Buena buffet. We'll also be having Santa Claus during the 24th and 25th. But during Noche Buena itself, we'll be having live band. Raffle draws will be there as well. And diretso ko na, Kom. So New Year
of course.
We have already announced it. So expect the biggest and largest fireworks display in Central Luzon during the countdown. Bands is also there, not locals. It's a mix of both local bands and of course, mga bands from Manila as well.
Alam mo to, makikita ba ang fireworks ng Asea all the way to Manila Bay?
Hopefully, but it's the grandest. That's the thing. And we can already assure that, Tom.
That should really usher in 2023 with a bang. And obviously, a lot of the guests are asking, ano ba ang pakete natin? Are there special promos? Are there packages for out-of-town guests? What can we offer our guests?
Well, technically, our packages are still in. You could check our websites for that one. But another package, especially not only for in-house guests, but also for locals of Olongapo and Clark or nearby provinces, avail nyo na po, get the chance na po to avail of our Noche Buena or New Year's countdown and get 10% off directly if you book in advance.
Wow!
Room rates natin still the same. May konting adjustment lang tayo, but of course, expect more from it.
I saw the rooms and again, new things on the bed. Everything is, even the decorations on the doors. Just a very festive atmosphere po dito sa Asea. And when you enter, you see all of the parang little places na parang may mga nag-iihaw, may bibingka, ano ba doon? Parang may mga ganong offering sa food.
Expect that one as well on the 24th and 25th, including the 31st and 1st. We'll be having giveaways to our in-house guests. So we're offering utubumbong, bibingka, and that's just the normal Filipino tradition of celebrating Christmas and New Year.
Sabi nga namin dito po sa Asea, gastronomic ang experience talaga. It's really a way to fill the tummy and of course enjoy the facilities and the place. Well, Clarence, of course, 2023 is a new year. Can you tell us a little bit about the plans of Asea as we usher in the new year? Meron bang mga bagong facilities or other things that we can expect?
Well, the main thing you can expect is my team is still ready to go above and beyond. That's for sure. New menu is coming in. That's Chef Linda upstairs, gearing up already for 2023 menu. New attractions, new water sports activities. Baka pagbalik nyo, Kom, ready na yung snorkeling facility natin dyan. But what we're waiting for is actually our expansion project. That's one. We'll be having newer rooms, or should I say villas already with private pools soon. So yun. And of course, our marketing team, yung iba kasi medyo planned pa, but we're going to announce it. So you could watch our Facebook or everything is there on our pages.
Wow.
You could watch out for it already.
Very excited, mga kapatid. Talaga hong, just being here again and coming back already makes me feel so relaxed. And I'm sure with all of the new facilities, it will be more exciting for 2023. The other thing, of course, is the food here is just terrific. Facilities, they've got a gym, they've got their activity center. Of course, their pool is magnificent with the view. And of course, the beach is just majestic. So, Clarence, thank you so much again for having us here in Asea. Huwag ka magsasawa. And of course, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and a prosperous
Siguro
New
you can
Year
greet
as well.
everyone for mga suki natin sa ASEA.
Sa lahat ng nanonood ng Power and Play from your ASEA family, we want to greet you the merriest Christmas and the most prosperous New Year. And we wish to see you here not only by 2023, pero rooms are still available. So we'll see you here on the getaway that you deserve.
Muli, nagpapasalamat po tayo sa ASEA Beach Resort in Subic. Again, thank you so much kay Mr. Clarence Dizon sa wonderful hospitality na ipinakita niya atin sa Power and Play muli dito po sa ating pagpunta sa ASEA. Again, try it out. It's a wonderful place just to relax, especially during the Christmas break. Talking about breaks, well, one team will go on a break. Sadly, the other will probably go on a break with a lot of celebration and fanfare. That's what's going to happen after Monday's game sa UAAP Finals. And today, to break down this decider, this knockout game, this winner-take-all match, well, we have with us now on Power and Play two of the very, very colorful analysts of the UAP, Diego Dario and Willie Wilson. Good
Hi, Kom.
day, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on this very
Thanks
nice topic.
Thank you for having us, Kom. Thank you.
Nako, talagang this is the talk of the town and everybody's waiting 2 days to go before that big day. You know, Willie was with me last week and you were talking about the possibilities. Here it is, Game 3 of Season 85. I'll begin first, I guess, with you. Siguro seniority. I'll begin with Willie first. No?
I'll give it to Coach.
Thank you.
You know, okay, Game 2 obviously was very different from Game 1. I watched it. It looked very different. What did Ateneo do to adjust to the Game 1 loss, Willie?
Oh, number one, they hit first. They hit first and they hit harder. And when I say hit, it wasn't anything like, boxing or MMA. It was, just straight physical basketball. We're going to be the aggressor. Kind of like what UP did in Game 1. Actually, you saw a bit of it from Ateneo in the second half of Game 1. They just carried it over into the start of Game 2, and they carried it all throughout the game.
Yeah, it looked really different in terms of the physicality. And, I even made a post about how I wish Ateneo would go, be more aggressive going to the basket. And they did that in Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Diego, on the other hand, anong kulang? What was missing with UP, in Game 2 that they did in Game 1?
Well, first of all, I think Coach Willie's totally correct. Ateneo was the aggressors in Game 2, basically. And UP, they tried to fight back, but I think Ateneo did a great job of playing defense, guarding the sets of UP. If I'm not mistaken, they were switching most of the ball screens, and I think dun nahirapan yung UP. I think, eventually they're gonna adjust in Game 3, but in Game 2, that was the story of the game. I'm sure Coach Willie saw that too, but they weren't able to make stops, so hindi sila nakatakbo. That's what UP's game is, fast. Compared to Ateneo, they're a slow-paced team. They love to run their half-court sets. For UP, since they weren't able to make stops, di sila nakatakbo, and I think that was the problem for UP in Game 2.
Diego, I also watched, very intently. And in Game 1, the usual Tab Baldwin style, they milk the clock, they move that ball, it starts at the elbow with the Ange Kwame. But in Game 2, it looked like they were doing early offense. They were attacking the basket early. They were not initiating it with Ange. Do you think that this threw off UP a little bit, Diego?
I think so, because I think that starts with the defense of Ateneo. They played better defense in Game 2 as Coach Willie played more physical, and that allowed them to have more transition points compared to Game 1. But their bread and butter is still that half-court offense. We've seen so much good execution in that Game 2, which, led to easy baskets. That dunk by Kai Balungay, easy baskets by Ange Kwame down low. And talking about putting it down low, points in the paint, that has been the trend here for UP and Ateneo. Whoever has more points in the paint, they have won the ball game. And I think it will still hold true in Game 3. We're going to see.
Really, was the pressure too much for UP in game 2, or was it just that Ateneo didn't want to lose yet?
I think it was. I think it was a little bit of both. You know, the hardest games to win are the closeout games. You saw UP. I mean, they didn't lack intensity. They didn't lack physicality. It was all there. I mean, it was there on both sides. It's just that I think Ateneo was a little bit more controlled with their physicality. As you see, the fouls in that first half really favored, especially in that first quarter, favored Ateneo. So Ateneo got off to a better start. You know, they won that first quarter only by a point, but still, the key guys are the ones that got in that foul trouble. You know, you had the MVP,
Right.
foul trouble, and that pretty much set the tone for the game, for the rest of the game.
Well, we know the stars will come out. We know that the stars will play, you know, especially the starting unit of both teams. Pero may mga players that are very crucial in what has happened so far in the season. Particularly in this particular finals series. In game 1, I felt that one of the guys that stepped up was Cyril Gonzalez for UP. And he was pretty much, you know, a non-factor in game 2. On the other hand, Sean Quiteves was a huge factor in game 2 where he was not in game 1. How impactful are these players in going into game 3, Diego?
Very important because as you mentioned, the stars will for sure, you know, produce. That's a given already, you know, Carl Tamayo, Kai Balungay, Fortsky Padregao, but these players will, you know, spell the difference between these two teams. And Sean Quiteves in game 2, he did a great job of doing the intangibles, you know. So things that don't show up in the stat sheet, closing out to the shooters of UP, being physical, making sure that the rotations are there. I mean, just letting everyone feel his presence was very important for Ateneo. Crucial plays coming from Sean Quiteves. But for Cyril Gonzalez, in game 1, you know, he was the aggressor. He was, you know, playing excellent pressure defense. He was making shots down low, pushing the pace for UP. But in game 2, as you mentioned, we didn't see much of that because he was getting called for fouls when it comes to, you know, all that pressure defense. So a little bit maybe over-aggressive in terms of putting the pressure, just like what Coach Willie mentioned as well.
All right. Well, we saw again the emergence of Kai Balungay in game 2, Willie. 0 in game 1, 15 in game 2, and you know those points were impactful. They were crucial, you know, and of course they were more than just 2 points. I think they gave a lot of momentum. On the other hand, Carl Tamayo has been his usual self. Although in game 1 he was more of a quiet scorer. In game 2 he needed to score more because of the absence of Save Lucero. Can these two do more? And do they have to do more in game 3, Willie?
Let me start with Carl Tamayo. That's a big yes. Capital letters, exclamation points. He's going to have to do more. You saw how UP was able to stage a mini run towards the end of the game with the last 5-6 minutes of the game. And it was done on the back of Carl Tamayo. I actually felt that they should have been even more intentional and went, you know, strictly through him, run the offense through him. Obviously, they have a lot of scorers on that team, but I think their best scorer, their most efficient scorer is Carl Tamayo. With regards to Kai Balungay, I think a lot of people, and myself included, forget that he's just a rookie. This is just his first year in the UAAP, and that game 1 performance, I mean, that's par for the course for rookies. I've been there. I'm pretty sure Diego's been there. But his game 2 performance, it's something that's going to be remembered for a long time, especially that dunk that he made on Xavier Lucero. That was huge. That was you know, momentum shifting, like you said. And does he need to do more? I don't think so. I just think that he needs to stick to what he does, because this offense that Ateneo runs, like you said, Kom, it's very methodical. And Diego said that their bread and butter is their half court, and it's gonna go through their progressions. If it ends up falling into Kai Balungay, that means that he's the open man. and he's going to be taking the shots. But what needs to be consistent from him is the defense and the physicality that he provided in game 2.
Yeah, he looked a little more determined. He looked a little more focused. He wasn't bothered by the calls. He wasn't being bothered by the physicality. I thought he was really in a zone. We want to chime in there, Diego. Alam natin how Carl Tamayo played in Game 3 of Season 84 Finals. He was one of the big players there. He really brought UP back from that in that particular Game 3. Do you think Carl Tamayo is going to show that he is, the reason why he is perhaps one of the best amateur players today?
Well, just to bounce off what Coach Willie said, the atmosphere inside the arena in these Battle of Katipunans, I mean, I've played one series with Ateneo back in Season 81, and it's crazy. You won't even hear each other inside the court. And I'm sure Kai Balungay had the same experience. He had to adjust, and in Game 2, he adjusted very, very well. But talking about Carl Tamayo, with the injury of Zave Lucero, Carl Tamayo will have to, take that load without Zave Lucero. He's going to have to, produce more. He's going to have to put this team basically on his shoulders, especially in that front court of UP.
All right. Well, let's talk about, of course, the MVPs of these teams. Malik Youth and the former MVP, Ange Kwame. Clearly in Game 2, Ange had Malik's number, and it looked like he wanted to prove something. So was this about pressure or motivation? I mean, being crowned MVP or losing the MVP race, was that, a boon or a bane for both? I'll start with you, Diego.
I think we would have to ask Ange about that, but I think it's just the motivation of not getting eliminated and not losing to UP once again. I'm sure Ange Kwame still has that in his mind, that Season 84 lost to UP, and he definitely made sure that the Game 3 was going to be played. Ange Kwame was basically the best player on the floor in that Game 2 finals, Ateneo against UP. He had 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 steals. That's just crazy numbers by Ange Kwame. I mean, he did it on both ends. Defense, offense. He won that matchup against Malik Diouf, and he was also the reason why Malik Diouf was in foul trouble, which basically spelled the game for UP and Ateneo forcing the Game 3.
Willie, Malik, do you think that he was overwhelmed by the award, or was he just trying to prove too much?
Well, I mean, he was actually asked that question and he denies it. But I've seen this on so many occasions where a player gets an award and then just throws out a stinker right after that. Right. Obviously, it's a huge occasion, achievement for Malik Diouf to win the MVP award. There's only one every season, so for him to get that award, that's big, not just for him, but for his teammates and for the whole UP community. But you need to put the cherry on top. You get the award. That's just the ice cream sundae. Winning and closing out the series, that's the cherry on top. It's not complete without that. And I really believe that winning the award played a part in, him putting forth that performance, because you could see it, you could feel it. The sharpness just wasn't there. The sense of urgency just wasn't there. He just didn't have that same, focus that he had in Game 1.
It's been the trend, though.
And that's why it's going to be very dangerous for Ateneo, because he probably would put it off and put it away, and he'll probably be the same old Malik Diouf come Game 3. So that's a danger, a warning flag for the Blue Eagles. Let me ask a couple more questions here before I let you go. Dave Ildefonso only scored 3 points in game number 2, and they won. So, but he had the best plus minus among all the players in Ateneo. On the other hand, I think James Spencer was also a guy who didn't score much for UP. Are they the missing factors? Do you think that they could be, very important for a victory in Game 3? Diego.
I think with Dave, we couldn't say that UP has him checked already, because remember, in round 1 and round 2 of this season, Dave has been scoring 20 points against this UP team. So in the finals, we're taking a look at Dave Ildefonso. It's kind of the same performance that he had in season 84, where he's not that scoring that much, and we're seeing that here in the finals. I feel like we have to credit UP's defense for really scouting him very well, but he's been doing things that impacts winning. Getting it to the paint, passing it to his open teammates. He's been defending, he's been rebounding. So I think this is the evolution of Dave Ildefonso. He's not just a scorer now. He needs to, he's now showing that he can impact winning in so many different ways. But in Game 3, he has to score more points. That's what he does. That's what he's known for. And I think that's what Ateneo will need, especially if it's going to be a close battle between Ateneo and UP. For UP, though, I think they can afford James Spencer not really scoring that much because they're that deep. Coach Tab has been talking about their 6 guards, in Alarcon, Kagulangan, Abadiano, James Spencer, and all the other guards of UP. Anyone can just blow off in any given moment. So I think James Spencer Game 3 might be his moment, because Game 1 and Game 2, as you mentioned, Kom, we didn't see much of him.
Talking about guards, Willie, and talking about his moment, is this the moment for Fortsky Padrigao? This is a guy that was not supposed to be starring this year, because they were hoping SJ Belangel would still be there, but he has been thrust into this limelight. He's been thrust into a leadership role. Is he ready? Do you think he's ready, Willie?
Well, I mean, I think it's already shown that he is. He's the mythical 5 member on only his second season. So I think that's huge. That's an amazing accomplishment for him. And we see him, and I commented that when you see him out on the court, the calm that he has, it's really beyond the years that he's been playing in the UAAP. So I commend him in that aspect. This team goes as far as he brings them, whether it's him scoring, doing it in that end, or him assisting. He'll get rebounds, and his calm on the court, it just rubs off on all his teammates. So yeah, I think that he's going to have to be sharp as he was in Game 1 and Game 2 for them to close it out in Game 3.
And he has to be healthy. Remember, in Game 1, he had to sit out, a good portion of the second half. So again, and that has been his case since the Final Four. Talking about another guard, and this is my final point among the guards. We know what JD Kagulangan did in season 84. He hit the winning basket that was heard all over the world, and he has been a big factor here in this series. Do you think that JD Kagulangan could, potentially again be a hero, or could be playing possum and helping out, his entire team? So how do you see his role coming together here in Game 3, Diego?
I think JD Kagulangan will just do what he's supposed to do. That's the type of player JD is. He's gonna set up his teammates. He's gonna make sure UP controls the pace, whether to push it or to settle down and call plays. But in Game 2, we've seen JD. He's been more aggressive compared to before, looking for his shots, because I think Ateneo has been, checking him in terms of, they're expecting him to pass the ball already when he's in the paint. So I think JD did a great job of, looking for his points in Game 2 a little, going for the layups, going for threes. And now Game 3, I think that Ateneo will guess what kind of JD will they get. Or are we going to get aggressive JD trying to score, or JD that's going to try to set things up? And that's a good sign of a point guard. You'll never know. You're never predictable.
Or the JD that'll hit the marginal basket again. That'll break the hearts of many.
He's the guy that can do it.
Will history repeat itself? Willie, X Factor. Obviously, this is Save Lucero. I mean, what's the latest?
Yeah.
What are you hearing, both of you? And how big is this injury for UP?
Oh man! So when I covered that game and I saw it happen in real time, and then it got replayed 2 or 3 times, the first thought that went to my mind, and I'll knock on wood, is that it was the worst. I don't want to say what it is, the 3 letters, but we all know that. And then when I speak to sources and I read online, they're not obviously disclosing what's happening. They're being hopeful. They're saying that they're doing everything that they can to get him ready. But if he's not going to be there, I think that's going to be a huge blow to UP's chances of winning this. This is another guy similar to Malik Diouf that they don't have to run plays for, but he just produces somehow, some way, and it doesn't always show up in the stats. And like Diego said, this team runs, and he's a big part of that, whether they go big and have him at the 3, or they go small, or I wouldn't say small, but they go traditional and have him at the 4. Him being able to get out and run, that's a big part of their game.
But Diego, is it a lock for Ateneo? Without, let's assume that Lucero will be there. How much of the pressure is taken off Ateneo, or is there more pressure now, knowing that Lucero is not going to play? And now people are expecting that you've got to win Game 3.
Well, first of all, prayers up for Zave. I think UP's preparing now, knowing that Zave won't be playing and won't be suiting up for Monday. So I think for UP, they're a deep team. So I don't think that's going to be a problem for them. There might be extended minutes for some players, or there might be mga magic bunot si Coach Gold. You'll never really know, right?
Willie's smiling here.
Why are you laughing, Coach?
Hey, this guy, if anybody knows, Diego's a lot closer to the team than I am.
So he knows, huh?
He knows. We might see more Bismarck out there. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's really next man up mentality here for UP. Game 3, biggest game of the season, basically championship on the line. It's really going to be up to the coaching staff. But for UP, the players have to be ready. No matter who it is, it has to be ready. For Ateneo, I think they just have to play the way they play. Whether Zave is there or Zave is not there, if they continue their ways in Game 2, I think they have the momentum going to Game 3. But UP has never lost back-to-back this season as well. So it's really gonna be super tough. It's tough to beat, right? UP twice to beat, so it's gonna be hard to say.
And I refuse to bet against UP. I know how good they are. They are a talented team, and I totally agree with Diego. But Ateneo, of course, has its own tradition. Tab has a winning culture, so it'll be very interesting. And of course, the fans will come out. It has been one of the craziest, loudest arenas that I've heard in a while, although UP has been dominating this side. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's going to be fun. I hope, to see you there. And of course, we're all looking forward to Game 3 of the UAAP Finals. I'm not going to put you on the spot. All I can say is good luck to the best team. Of course, Willie, you really have no...
I'm neutral. I'm neutral.
All right. Thank you so much, Willie and Diego. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Kom.
Thanks for having us, Kom. Thank you.
Yan po mga kaibigan, si Coach Willie Wilson and of course, UAAP analyst Diego Dario explaining to us the intricacies of Game 3 ng UAAP Finals. Pambira itong finals na to, no? It's been a while. This is their 3rd meeting in the last 4 years. And, it's really dynasty or redemption. All I can say is wag po kayong pipikit at wag po kayong mawawala because it's going to be a classic ball game. Alright, mga kaibigan, we'll take a quick break. Magbabalik pa po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go, at ng True Religion.
I dare to dream big. To be a voice of my generation. To inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Kai Stories on Twitter and share yours. With Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day. Plus data for all sites.
Simple. Smart ako.
Alex, are you ready to have some fun on your first driving lesson?
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice na swak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
Muli nagbabalik po ang inyong paboritong programa sa Sabado, ang Power and Play. Mula po sa napakagandang ASEA Subic Beach Resort. And again, maraming salamat sa lahat ng talagang sumusuporta sa atin dito sa ASEA. It's been a really good time. And of course, nagpapasalamat na rin naman ako. Gusto ko po magpasalamat sa lahat ng tagapagtaguyod ng Power and Play. Kung wala sila, wala rin po yung ating programa buong taon. At ngayon na malapit na ang Kapaskuhan at magtatapos na ang taon, gusto ko po magpasalamat sa inyo lahat sa patuloy po ninyong suporta sa amin. Unahin ko na po ang Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Sa ganitong pabago-bago ang panahon, mga kapatid, sobrang init, biglang uulan, biglang lalamig. Kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum. Kapag may aluminum, tsak na pang matagalan. At isa lang ang alam kong dekalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum.
Thank you!
Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro, how neat it is to have a 7-seater SUV that has a powerful engine, world-class safety standards, and the latest tech features. Bet you didn't know that the all-new Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro has all these features and more at a very affordable price range. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro is equipped with a 1.6 turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine, an advanced driver assistance system, and 12 other safety features, including traffic jam assist, intelligent high beam control, and lane departure warning. The flagship Tiggo 8 Pro allows you more control of the wheel. What's great is you can also join the green revolution with Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, or PHEV. So book a test drive now via www.cherryauto.ph or visit a Cherry dealership near you.
Thank you!
Chooks to go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Subukan ang kanilang pinakabagong oven-roasted chicken na mas pinasarap dahil sa nag-uumapaw na flavorful chicken juice. Try also Chooks, the first dine-in restaurant ng Chooks to go. Chooks to go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan.
Thank you!
True religion is in the Philippines, where passion meets power. Experience it firsthand. For your best style choices, visit True Religion at Conrad Maison Mall of Asia Complex, Resorts World Manila, and Hacienda Designer Outlet Silang Cavite. True Religion.
Thank you!
Joyride, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Magpadala with confidence kahit para sa negosyo o personal bulk deliveries man yan. Kayang-kaya ni-deliver securely with Joyride. Try also the motorcycle taxi and the latest offering of Joyride, the Joyride car. So download the latest Joyride super app now.
Thank you!
Elms Seafood Paluto, the latest offering of the Elms Resto Bar Group, located at Unit 2 ground floor, Calle Bistro, Ever, Commonwealth, Quezon City. Enjoy their delectable seafood menu in a relaxed casual dining atmosphere for your salo-salo seafood meal. Elms Seafood Paluto.
Thank you!
Skin, your face and body anti-aging center. With branches at Alabang Town Center and Green Hills San Juan. For your skin assessments and treatment schedule, call 0917-890-1640 or 0977-809-8886.
Thank you!
ASEA Subic Beach Resort. Experience the getaway that you deserve and dive into limitless happenings, rejuvenating experiences, and gastronomic adventures. ASEA Subic Beach Resort.
Thank you!
Sari Suki, gusto mo bang kumita ng higit 50,000 kada buwan? Magkaroon ng online negosyong walang puhunan, no registration at joining fee. Download Sari Suki sa App Store at Google Play Store. 50,000 kada buwan. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart!
Thank you!
Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng ating tagapagtaguyod and of course sponsors, supporters of this advocacy that we have in Power and Play. And talking about advocacy, syempre po, ang ating po laging sinasabi, meron po tayong mga pinopromote na mga sports na hindi nasa mainstream. And obviously, ito yung mga sports na kailangan din po nating suportahan. Dito po sa ating feature sa Slam Book. Sa panibagong pahinang ito ng ating Slam Book, ating pag-uusapan ang sport ng equestrian. Para mas ipaliwanag ang larong ito, makakasama natin mga kapatid, walang iba from the Philippine Equestrian Federation, ang ating pong coach, si Xavier Virata, at ang kasama niya ang mga national athletes ng equestrian, Adriana Chua, Nicole Kamkam, and Julia Ongking. Magandang gabi. Magandang araw, Coach Xavier. Ladies, Adriana, Nicole, and Julia, thank you for joining us today on Power and Play.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Nice to...
Hello. It's really nice. It's really nice to have all of you. I know that it's a busy time. It's Christmas, and everyone is just caught up with many things. So I'm very happy to finally get to talk to you. I'll begin with you, Coach Xavier. A lot of the sports, of course, are now returning. We're seeing face-to-face competitions, but equestrian is a sport that obviously has been affected tremendously by the pandemic. How has it affected your sport, Coach?
Well, there have been negative and positive outcomes because of the pandemic. So we were fortunate enough to be one of the sports allowed to practice during the pandemic. So this also gave opportunity for new people to come into the sport. So it's actually given us a good chance for new blood into the sport. And there are also in some negative, since during the pandemic our facilities were closed, so we had a hard time accessing in the beginning. So some also have lost some motivation. But for me, we've gained more than we have lost. So now we have more facilities actually opening up. So we have more venues for people to try equestrian. And now I see a brighter future actually post-COVID for our sport, because now more people are interested.
Very, very good. That's good to hear that mas marami pa na nadagdag ng mga facilities. Of course, hindi naman madali makahanap ng facility, but it's good to know that kahit papaano dumadami. And I want to ask you also, Coach, how is the national team recovering after the pandemic? Are you back to training? Are you together again? Are you competing once again? How is the national team?
Well, for the senior national team, most of them are based abroad in the US and Europe. So they were able to continue training a lot sooner than the ones based here in the Philippines. So our youth national team, the ones below me, this was actually our first international competition together. So that's why this year is actually our first normal competition season again. So everyone's excited to go back into the training and competition season as well.
So basically, Adriana and Nicole and Julia, you're all products of the grassroots program of equestrian. Is that right, Adriana?
Yeah.
More or less, that's how you started, and of course, you're back into it. I want to ask you, Adriana, basically about equestrian, because a lot of people are not very familiar with it. It's very technical. I know that there are two disciplines. I may be wrong: show jumping and dressage. Can you tell the viewers what is the difference between the two?
Well, I do show jumping, and show jumping is when the rider and the horse go over fences. Normally, it's like a course. There are like different types, different kind of setups in a competition. So, and then dressage is more like judging the movements of the horse. So it's all flat work and no jumping in dressage.
So basically, the objective of both is to impress the judge. Is that the way? The simplest way to put it?
Well, in show jumping, it's more of trying not to knock down the fences, and usually it's against time.
Right. All
Yeah.
right. So that there's a time limit. You got to go through all of the obstacles. Well, dressage is more of a showing off of the form. Is that right? More or less.
Yeah,
I guess.
in a way.
In simple terms. All right.
Yeah.
I want to go to Nicole. Nicole, many people, probably have not even ridden a horse, so they don't know the demands of the sport. How demanding is equestrian physically on riders compared to other athletes?
Well, actually, I guess like me, I started going to the gym like recently, and especially in the pandemic, like the gyms were closed and everything, so we had to keep ourselves like fit. But I would have to say, like compared to other sports, I think it's just more keeping your like stamina up and keeping your core like tight and strong, because we that's one of like the biggest things that we use in riding, and like besides our legs and our core is like one of the most important. So in like quarantine, it was like really hard to stay fit, from like vegging out on the couch and like Netflix and everything. Like, yeah, it was really a struggle to keep ourselves fit.
To get up, to get back. Yeah, right. Well, in that connection, how do you train? Is there like a cross training regimen being given by coaches?
No, well, I guess it depends on what coaches you have, but like I mean, for me, I think it's all preference. Like for me, I kind of work on cardio to keep my stamina up while I ride, and just core exercises to keep it strong too. But I think it's more subjective to each rider, really.
All right. Well, Julia, you're only one part of equestrian. The other part is the horse, obviously. And what to you has been the key to working well with a horse or your horse? What makes it successful, that partnership between rider and horse?
I think the really special thing that we have in the sport is the ability to work with these animals and to have them by your side. And I think something that this sport, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's really nice in the sense that being able to work with the horses teaches you a lot about yourself as well. It teaches you a lot about empathy and how to, because it's a partnership. Like it would be nothing without the horses. So for me, it would really be connecting with the horse on that deeper level. And you kind of know there's a feeling that when the horse trusts you and you trust the horse and you kind of marry each other, like the horse can really feel everything that you're feeling and everything that you're trying to ask them for. And it's really, like the goal, I think, for me personally as a rider is to create like as safe and as like confident of a space between you and the horse, so you guys trust each other and like when each of you needs something from the other, you're able to adjust and like move on from there. So I think it's really being able to understand and empathize with them, and just like they're your best friend in the sport talaga. So it's being able to like maintain that bond and like really keep it solid as you guys work together, like to train and compete eventually.
What comes first? Julia? Learning to train the horse or learning to ride? I mean, I'm not a rider. I've ridden horses, but in the sport, where does that fall? And what seems to be the more important part of it?
That's an interesting question. I think first of all, like you don't have to start riding, because otherwise like you wouldn't really have a need to manage the horse. But after a while, like once you kind of get to know the sport, you get a feeling of it, you get a feeling of the horses, then that's kind of when horsemanship becomes all the more important, because now it's really not about you as a rider, but it's the partnership with you and your horse. And my principle, talaga as a rider, is the horses have to come first. So, you would be nothing without them. So yeah, I think when you start getting into the sport, then it's really just about like learning about the horses, like learning how they work, like figuring out like how to tack them up, like how to take care of them, how to brush them, how to feed them. That's just the introduction. But when you really commit to the sport, it's horses above everything else, and then you're really like secondary. Yeah.
Well, Coach, nakakatuwa, no? It's really nice to hear these young ladies talk about equestrian in a very deep sense, no? Even the relationship with the animal, and of course, what it's taught them. In that connection, there has been no equestrian in the Southeast Asian Games for the last 3 editions since 2017. There was none in Malaysia, in the Philippines. There was none in Hanoi, and of course, there won't be any in the Cambodia Southeast Asian Games. What are we doing because of all of these absences? What are we doing to promote the sport, Coach Xavier?
Well, actually, this is a close coordination within the Southeast Asian countries as well, because as of course, every Southeast Asian Games, all the Southeast Asian countries are looking forward to competing in the equestrian event. So Cambodia and Vietnam are actually, well, Vietnam has no equestrian sport really, no federation as well. So it's understandable why they did not host. Cambodia is a relatively new country coming into the sport in the region. So they are not so strong in the sport. So that's why they also, was hard for them to host. Now in Philippines, we were trying to as well. It's just some, we were just having some logistical problems because to host also the sport is very logistical heavy. So if you would like to compare, for me, the closest sport to compare to equestrian sport is motorsport. So you can think it's like F1 in a way where we have a lot of moving parts. So it's not so simple to set up because we have living equipment, if you want to call it that way. So there are quarantine measures that we have to take in place when importing horses and exporting horses. So that was one of the complications in hosting here because we are not so, it's not very familiar for exporting and importing horses. So
I want to ask you, Coach, maybe a lot of, young kids are listening to us and or parents, and they want to try it, no? But kailangan ba, I guess ang unang tanong is, kailangan ba sila magkaroon ng sarili nilang kabayo? That's one. And I guess the other part of the question is, where do they go if they don't have a horse? Paano sila, how can they get involved in equestrian?
So luckily, there have been more facilities where you can rent a horse and even start out. So that's why the sport has been more accessible. So one of the facilities opened up was in Silang Cavite, Rancho Leonor. And then there are also other private facilities as well located in Bulacan, in Cavite, Batangas. So all you have to do, and even in Marikina. So all you have to do is just Google search. Also, if you want, you can contact the Equestrian Association of the Philippines and we can help you locate the nearest one to your location. Now, in terms of another grassroots program would be the retraining of racehorse program that we've recently done. So we've been tying up with the Philippine Racing Commission and to make retraining of horses a bit more accessible. So we are trying to bring the costs of the sport down to make it more accessible for people. So this is what
isn't that hard? Isn't it hard to retrain race horses?
It is hard. That's why it takes a certain skill of rider and patience and time to retrain a racehorse. But in terms of a long-term prospect, this is a good grassroots project, because then we can produce potentially a local horse that can also compete in international events. So because the racehorse breeding is quite extensive already in the Philippines. So the raw horse is here and the breeding has been getting better over the years. Now we just need to convert it with the training expertise in order to get up to the international level.
I want to ask you, ladies, I'll begin with you again, Adriana. How did you get involved in the sport? Who first introduced you, and what makes you like equestrian?
I actually started at the age of 7. I started with riding school horses and actually riding ponies muna, which actually made the process easier for me since they're smaller. Then I gradually started riding horses after training sometimes abroad, and I just fell in love with show jumping, and being able to trust the horse is I think what makes the sport special and what made me kind of inspired to continue.
Wow, that's a nice story. Nicole, what about you? What made you fall in love with the sport, and of course, how did you start? How did you start in equestrian?
Well, I actually started because my previous sport was figure skating, and I had a traumatic experience, like an accident. I got hit by a blade on my right calf, and it kind of traumatized. Well, it did traumatize me, to go back on the ice. So then, of course, I spoke to my parents, and I was like, our family, like, all of us do sports. So I was like, no, I really want to like keep going with the sport, but I like tried tennis, badminton. I didn't like it. I didn't really like, pursue it or anything. So then I asked my mom, I was like, is there any sport that involved animals? And I was 9 years old when this happened. So, I mean, of course, I didn't even know that like riding was a thing, like with dressage or jumping or racing. I didn't even know it was a thing yet. And my dad was asking like Tony Levista, who owns a farm in Lipa, if I could like, borrow one of her horses. But at the time, it wasn't available. So I went to Polo and I trained there with the riding school horses. And then after a year, I moved to Lipa with Tony.
Wow.
And then, well, like about like the why like I still ride and like I think it's more of the beauty of the sport that we can communicate with animals that don't even speak our language, and the fact that like they can feel our feelings, super sensitive like to it. And I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that animals could actually feel our feelings, and that would like affect how it would be in the arena and everything. Like if we're nervous, then our rounds would become bad, or like if we're like we're kind of scared to approach a jump, then they feel that too. So like emotions come like big, like is a big thing in the sport, because if you're not brave in the arena, then the horse doesn't have enough heart to jump the fences. So yeah.
What about you, Julia? Very quickly.
Okay,
how did
so
you do it, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, so I think it's very similar for all of us. I think the first time that the idea like randomly occurred to me, I think I was in Polo after lunch one time, and there were a bunch of horses lined up. And I remember like really vaguely like telling my mom like I want to try riding a horse, because I think they were playing polo in the field. And I don't think either of us like realized how like crazy it would get like to this point. So I started riding like after like I remember I was still super young at that time, and I was told like, oh, you have to wait a little bit longer because you're not old enough. And I was like being super annoyed to my mom. I was like, please like let me ride now. And then eventually like I was able to start riding, and then eventually as time went on, like continued training, started competing. And then eventually also having the opportunity to ride abroad and compete abroad. And it's I guess like it's just been one really long story that like I just keep wanting to continue. Like every new experience, every like piece of growth that I'm able to get from each riding experience just pushes me to want to continue and keep riding and keep doing better and keep showing up like at least a little bit better each and every day. And it's also at the end of the day for me, it all started with the horses, and like it continues always with the horses. So
Coach, before I let you go, everyone, what are the next tournaments coming up for equestrian?
Well, the biggest tournament next year is the Asian Games. So our senior team is preparing for that. Although since China is very strict country in terms of importing and the COVID, so we will see the further developments in their policies. Because right now with the fuel price hike and the Ukraine war, logistics is also looking a potential problem. But the senior team is still training as if we are going. And
we really have to prepare for the Asian Games. I think this is something that we're hoping that you can. It's been a while for the equestrian team to, getting involved in an international competition, and we certainly hope that you'll be there. Let me ask you as a parting shot. If there was something that we could do, what are the challenges of the sport, and how can we help in terms of equestrian, Coach Saber?
Well, the simplest support that we can get from everyone is that when we have competitions, attend and watch and support the athletes. Just by doing that already, we can already attract sponsors after that, getting more interest. Also, of course, even trying to just learn to do the sport is already a big way of supporting. So even just trying a couple of lessons and everything, getting into it, getting interested, that's the best way to support our athletes. And if anyone is curious, how that wants to learn, you just contact the Equestrian Association of the Philippines, and we'll try to locate the nearest center in your location.
Terrific. Well, I'm sure many will look out. We'll be looking at your pages, and I hope that we continue to grow equestrian, because I really feel that that's a sport where we really have very good chances of becoming winners and going up that podium. Thank you so much, Coach Xavier Virata, our national athletes, Adriana Chua and Nicole Kamkam, and of course Julia Ongking. Maraming salamat for joining us today. Mabuhay ang equestrian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yan po mga kaibigan ng ating mga friends from the Equestrian Association of the Philippines. And again, we're certainly hoping that equestrian continues to grow as a sport. Alright, bago tayo mag-break, ipasok muna natin ang ating mga viral videos at pop culture sa mundo ng palakasan sa Stop and Pop.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
Ang title ng video natin po ngayong araw na to ay Ice ka lang ba, kuya? Panoorin natin, ha? Pagbasta nyo po, mabuti ang kuya na yan. Ayan, kita nyo? The first time yata na gustong mag-ice skating. Yun, gumawa na lang ng forma kasi kahit nakakapit sa gilid ng ring, madulas-dulas pa rin siya. Ayun, nag-push up na lang, nagsasayaw, para hindi mahalatang newbie o baguhan sa ice skating. Malamang nakaka-relate kayo dyan. Pero syempre, at the end of the day, kung hindi walang forma, sa forms na lang yan, magpakita na lang ng gilas. At yan po ang ating Stop and Pop moment.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
At atin po ngayong ilalagay ang spotlight sa katatapos lamang po na MPBL, the championship o season, kung saan ang nagwagi po ng kanilang very hotly contested title match against the Zamboanga team ay ang Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards, their very first championship actually, na regular championship para sa Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards. At ngayon po makakasama natin walang iba kung hindi ang champion coach ng Nueva Ecija, si Coach Gerson Cabiltes, and of course ang MVP of the finals, si Byron Villarias, and one of the members of the team, a champion player as well, Jonathan Oiloan. Magandang araw, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today on Power and Play. Coach, congratulations.
Hey, thank you so much, sir. Thank you rin po for having us here. Thank you, Sir Noli and Sir Mike.
Coach Gerson, pambihira itong naging kampiyonato ninyo. Of course, it was a historic run para sa inyo. You were spotless nung elimination round and you breezed through the playoffs. Only 2 losses all throughout the playoffs. And I know kung gaano kaganda ang so far ang naging taon mo. 5 championships in the last 2 years. How does this particular championship compare to the others na napanalunan mo this year and of course last year?
Sir, this one is the hardest since you're gonna play different opponents from 21 other teams kasi 22 teams kami lahat. So, and then it's a home and away format. So sometimes you're playing at your home floor, sometimes you're gonna visit the opponent's home. So it's sometimes gonna be a hostile environment. So different po yung approach namin towards the game each and every time. So this one is gonna be the hardest since it's siguro umabot siya na around 7 to 8 months po bago natapos.
Oo, para talagang full season ng NBA calendar, no? And that's really the kind of season pinaghahandaan. Ano naging susi, Coach Gerson, sa tingin mo, nitong season na to ng title run ninyo para sa MPBL crown?
For our team kasi we always prepare hard for each and every game. The key for the team is talaga yung unselfishness nila and giving into the system. Hindi sila nag-play ng selfish basketball, they played unselfishly. And then yung trust nila sa system ang pinutuin ko. And then yun nga, yung camaraderie ng team ng bawat isa.
Jonathan, let me go to you. You are a champion even in the PBA. Your last title was, I think, back in 2012. How does this particular championship rank in your career as a basketball player in the Philippines?
Yes, this one was really special because of the home and away, format. So we have a lot of fan base in Zamboanga, and then there was it was just enemy territory going into the game 3 and 4, and also our home crowd in Nueva is ignites us to perform better. So that's the main difference from the PBA finals and the MPBL finals.
Talk about your fans in Nueva Ecija. You were mentioning that, how much of a part of this championship are they, or were they, in particular, in providing you with the support, the moral support that the team needs?
Before the game, on social media, they're so passionate about the game, and Bus Ball family, they're so supportive and passionate about the game. Perform better in our whole season, actually. From start to finish.
Right. Well, we're seeing some of the scenes here with your championship rings, and Coach, obviously this is a wonderful feeling. And I want to ask you about the series kontra Zamboanga. Nanalo kayo doon sa series yon for the championship 3-1, but it didn't look like it was, bagamat 3-1 ang score. It wasn't an easy series, right, Coach? In fact, yung game number 2 was a very, very crucial one. What were the challenges sa serye nyo against Zamboanga?
Every game kasi, sir, medyo mabigat eh. Sometimes they're going to an early lead, then we're going to catch up in game 1, and then we got the lead, sila naman will catch up towards the end. Same thing that happened in game 2. We're up by around 9 with less than 2 minutes to go. They made some crucial threes. So yun, our lead was cut down to 1. Fortunately for us, we escaped with the victory. And then game 3 naman was very tough. Siguro they're up by 10 at halftime, up by 5 sila at the end of third. We catch up, and then suddenly yung breaks of the game towards the end goes out on their way. So in game 4 naman, we started pretty aggressive. Talagang on offense and defense, talagang pinagigihan namin. And then we got an early 20-point lead towards the second quarter, and then at the end of half, we're leading by 16. They cut it down to 9 at the end of third, and then yun na, yung ano na lang sa dulo. We maintained the lead, and then yun, nakuha namin yung championship.
Oo. Well, alam natin kung gaano kabigat din ang kalaban niyo yung Zamboanga, but still, it was a dominating win. It was a terrific win para sa Nueva Ecija. Your first championship with Nueva Ecija, and gaano kahalaga ito for the team owners, for the province, and for all of your fans, Coach Gerson?
This is our first championship for the MPBL at Nueva Ecija. So, syempre naman, it's gonna be the sweetest kasi first time namin nag-champion dito. alam naman na it's very hard to get a championship sa MPBL playing against tough teams and medyo napakaraming teams, and then it's a very long season. Dapat hindi yung intensity level mo hindi rin bumababa, especially going to the playoffs. Kailangan doon you maintain it, and then siguro dapat pa nga towards the playoffs kasi every team's gonna play much harder and kailangan always ready ka sa mga opponents pa.
Let me ask you, Jonathan, you were, of course, up against some of the really good, rangy and experienced players also of Zamboanga, particularly the MVP, Marcelino of Zamboanga. How was that particular assignment? How tough was it playing the MVP of the league?
Oh yeah, it was tough on defense. Coach Jerson, would give me advice on how to play faster guards. Definitely, again, when they play at home, it's a very special thing in athletes where you get encouraged and pumped up to play in your home crowd, and it was definitely hard game 3 and 4 to play against not only the Marcelino twins but all the other players. It was hard. It was a hard fought battle, game 3 and 4.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll try to get in Byron. Byron, naririnig mo ba kami? Byron? Hindi natin makuha si Byron. But, I'm going to ask you also, Jonathan, since I cannot get to Byron. Your team is pretty deep. You've got, Mike Mabulak, you've got Will Macaloni, of course, you've got Hesed Gabo, Chris Biton, and even JR Taganas. This is a very deep team, aside from the others, and of course the two of you. How did you build chemistry? 7 months, as Coach said, no? A lot of things can happen, and you did not lose in the elimination round. How difficult was that, and how were you able to keep the team together, Jonathan?
It's definitely important to have communication with Coach Jerson and the coaching staff. Being transparent to the coaching staff and management, and the players. They're not only talented, but they have such a passion and heart for the game. Anything that we learn, and we just do our best to obey him because he's our authority. So I think it was a long, like what Coach Jerson said, and that was probably the hardest, is having almost 7 months of practices and games. And just to be able to have a chemistry from previous leagues, we were able to find that fine line where we could, have a common goal and a common chemistry to, take on that 7 months. So, Coach Jerson and the coaching staff.
Yeah, well, it's not very common that you get to play that long, and obviously that's a feat by itself. Coach Jerson, talking about records and feats, yung elimination round record nyo na walang talo is a record, a historic winning streak, tying Crispa, the legendary Crispa Redmanizers. Looking back now, alam ko sinabi mo once upon a time na hindi importante yun. Ang mas mahalaga, of course, yung manalo kayo ng kampeonato. Now that you've won a championship, looking back, what does that mean to you? Yung record na yun, yung 21 straight wins ninyo, anong ibig sabihin na ngayon yan para sa'yo in light of the championship?
Actually, yung yung record sa elimination round na you're unbeaten, just put a lot of pressure for us also. And then when we lost to San Juan in Game 1 in the North Finals, siguro It's a blessing in disguise na natanggal sa amin yung pressure na yon. And we felt the pain that na ayaw pala namin matalo. So in that time, siguro yung recover namin after the game 1 loss, siguro yun yung nag-pump up sa amin para makuha yung North Division Championship and going towards the National Championship.
Byron, can you hear me? Narinig mo na ba ako?
Okay na po. Medyo okay na po. Bumalik na.
Yan, MVP.
Alright. Okay. Finals MVP, yan sinasabi ka ni Coach. Finals MVP. Anong pakiramdam, Byron, na nabuhat mo ang team mo, lalo-lalo na doon sa crucial game number 4?
Syempre po, sobrang happy kasi nakuha din namin yung championship. Bonus na lang po yung MVP award para sa akin. Basta yung pinaka-goal namin is yung national champion po talaga.
Alam mo, 2 games yan eh. Ang ganda na pinakita mo. Even in the semis, yung close-out game, ikaw rin ang magandang pinakita. Noong finals, close-out game, ikaw rin ang magandang pinakita. Ano ba yun? Talaga bang sinasadya yun? Ano ang motivation mo doon? Bakit usually pagka doon sa dikdika na talaga lumalabas yung Byron Villarreal?
Galing po kasi sa mga teammate at saka coaches po yung kumpiyansa ko po. Sabi nila sa akin every game, basta pag open ako, talagang titira ko talaga kasi yun yung sabi nila sa akin lagi, basta pag open ka, bitaw mo. Kaya yun siguro, lahat ng mga open shots, yung mga play para sa akin, talagang kumpiyansa ako na maisushoot ko kasi galing talaga sa nila eh.
How valuable are Byron and Jonathan sa kampanya nyo?
Kasi if you're gonna look at it, definitely talagang makikita lang ng tao, they are shooters. They score 3 points, yun lang naman yung makikita ng tao dyan. But how they defend, how they get the rebounds. Actually, nung Game 4 si Byron, naka 10 rebounds. He defended JV Marcelino. And so with Jonathan Uyluan, with the offensive tap to Michael Wico that put us in the lead for 3 points in Game 2. Yung nag-secure sa amin ng panalo. And then they are underrated defender as well. So they put in the effort defensively aside from hitting 3-point bombs na yun lang naman yung nakikita ng tao. Pero yung aside nila towards the defensive end is very hard since they're gonna guard much quicker and younger players.
All right. Well, the season is over. Ang tanong, are you all coming back sa Nueva Ecija? I'll start with you, Coach Gerson.
You mean for the next season?
Yes.
As per our boss, we're all coming back.
All right. Magandang balita yan.
Kasi kala ko you also have a parade this coming December 18 and 19 sa Nueva Ecija Motorcade.
Wow, that will be fun. That will be exciting. All right, Jonathan, this is something that will forever be as part of your resume.
Yeah, I'm very happy. But I think that what put a little bit more, I guess, a good pressure is Bus Bong's interview at the very end of the game. He said that he wants to do it again. So that pressure is back on again. So
the MPBL obviously has its own following, and we can see that with the way the fans have kung paano it has supported the league throughout the season. Coach, para sa iyo, gaano kahalaga yung role ng MPBL sa landscape ng basketball, especially for a coach like you, batang coach, and getting that kind of break, and of course going all around the country and showing people kung gaano ka kagaling, as well as of course yung team mo. Anong role ng MPBL sa landscape ng Philippine basketball?
we're very thankful to Senator Manny Pacquiao for establishing MPBL. Actually, it gives many opportunities, not only to the players as well as the coaches, staffs, and utilities, people behind the scenes. Nabibigyan sila ng work to provide for their families. And then, ito pa yung home and away crowd, bringing us, the players and the team, much closer to the people. Kaya nga, every time you go to the provinces and home floors, talagang jump-pack crowds yung makikita mo. And then, it gives us opportunity to showcase our talent, just like what you have said, sir. Ito yung opportunity namin na mapakita kung ano yung meron kami as coaches, as players, going towards our dreams. Yun ba?
Jonathan, same question I want to ask you just before we end this interview. How has the MPBL helped, a player like you? And of course, is the MPBL here to stay? Do you think that it should stay, just to be able to continue this advocacy of regional basketball in the Philippines?
Yeah, just definitely want to echo what Coach Jerson said. It was Senator Manny Pacquiao has given us work. It was hard even during the pandemic, and we were able to have a MPBL invitational, and just his generosity and kindness to be able to league like this definitely propels our career, but also, like what Coach Jerson said, not only the players but the coaching staff, these and the MPBL staff, we all were able to have jobs through tough times, and I also believe that MPBL is going to be an 8 league, and I heard that there's going to be even more teams next year, so definitely looking forward to that.
We are all looking forward to that, obviously, and the MPBL has certainly played a huge role in the landscape of basketball, and I'm just happy to see the Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards now on top, and hopefully you will continue your record run. Maraming salamat for the time that you've given us, Coach Jerson, Jonathan, and of course, sayang si Byron nagkaroon ng technical problems, but thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paul.
At maraming salamat po sa mga kampeon ng MPBL, of course, from the Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards. Again, a wonderful season. Congratulations, and talagang sana nga magtuloy-tuloy ang success, hindi lamang ng Nueva Ecija, kundi ng MPBL. And that'll do it for us this Saturday. Pero bago po tayo magtapos, gusto ko lang pong pasahin lahat po ng mga nagwagi sa ating pong Joyride, Super App, Top Up promo sa Power and Play. Mananalo po kayo ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits. Si Geraldine Manlangit, Leo Lozares, Gilbert June Vance, Kayselin Ocampo at si Don Cazeñas. Congratulations! 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits mula sa Joyride Super App, ang bago ninyong kasundo. Alright mga kapatid, again, from the beautiful Asea Subic Beach Resort, nagpapasalamat po muli kami sa inyo. Merry Christmas! Ilang araw na lamang, isang linggo na lang, Pasko na. Kaya ingat-ingat po tayo. At lagi po namin sinasabi tuwing Sabado, bawal ang masungit. At sa lahat po ng ating gawain, ad maiorem Dei gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Kami po ang 1PH, teleserbisyo para sa Pilipino. Happy Sports Weekend mga kapatid! More power, more play.
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko, para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at magpapatalo, ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Amiga. Sama-sama sa kapwa ko.